Hey folks, Jason, Tradesman Outdoor Adventures. It's a beautiful but chilly mid-March Sunday. I seem to do all my video filming on Sundays. And I wanted to provide an update on how the Beast has been performing MPG-wise and maintenance-wise. I've had the truck about 10,000 miles now, and so let's talk briefly about the maintenance costs and, more importantly, the fuel costs. So to be right up front, really zero maintenance, really zero breakdown maintenance problems. I did have a TPMS sensor go out on the driver rear of the vehicle, covered in warranty. That's it. Everything else has been oil changes, tire rotations. Trucks perform flawlessly. Obviously, the way the world is right now, MPG is a topic of conversation, and fuel efficiency and do heavy-duty trucks make sense for off-road overlanding. I'm gonna have a separate video about this on some trail damage I suffered. I'm gonna shoot that today. We'll see. But I want to give you a rundown on how the truck's been handling fuel-wise, the MPG loops, and what my thoughts are on whether these are efficient off-road rigs. Not efficient, certainly, but if these are economical off-road rigs. So I've got my notes here. So for maintenance, zero, just the left rear TPMS sensor. Easily changed, local Dodge dealership. Ram dealership. So I've owned this vehicle. It's got about 17,500 miles on it. Remember, I bought it with like 7,900 miles used, but I consider that to be basically a new vehicle. So right now, it's got 17.5. I have, in Fuelie app, recorded 9,325 miles traveled. My average MPG, so hand calculated, not the truck calculated, average is 13 miles per gallon. So my use of the vehicle, so I've had it for 5 months, put about 10,000 miles on it. I drive at 50 miles a day for work, round trip, plus weekend trips and whatnot, so putting a fair number of miles on it. So that 13 is definitely mixed city highway. I don't think that's too bad for a heavy duty truck of this size. It's not awesome. I'd rather see it higher. Wouldn't we all? But it's not, to me, it doesn't seem like it's as bad as everybody described. Ram 2500s, Power Wagons. So that number actually is probably a little bit higher. So it's been I've had about 2,000 miles on the metric 35 BF Goodriches. And so when we talk about the mileage loop that I do, I test that with my Garmin Overlander, because obviously the tires are bigger, so you're actually traveling a longer distance. You're fooling the computer some. So since then, my speedometer's off by about 5.2%. So I actually travel 5.2% longer than the odometer will show. So that number's probably slightly higher. But 13 on average, over 9,000 and change miles, that's not too bad. So let's update how the performance upgrades have affected the mileage. So to refresh, I have an 85-mile loop, kind of rolling hills going out I-66 west. Cruise control, 65 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour. I think the cold weather dropped some of the values initially, so the numbers have actually kind of leveled out. But let's talk about and refresh. So the stock truck at 65 miles an hour, 16.3 miles per gallon, 85 miles. Not bad. 16.1 at 70 miles per hour. We talked about this in a previous video, but just establish the baseline. With the bigger BFGs, that dropped to 15.3 at 65 and 15.0 at 70. So that's a reasonably substantial drop, but nothing kind of horrible, I guess, for what you're doing. Obviously raising the truck, and it's a much wider tire, so it increases the contact patch. Incidentally, BFGs, great so far, no problems. Road noise is still manageable. It's only been 2,000 miles. So we dropped about a mile per gallon. Then, if you recall, I took off the front air dam and added the CJC brush guard. Skid plate, brush guard. 85 mile loop, again, controlling for mileage with the Garmin. Actually got 15.5, which was weird, which is actually higher than I did with the BFGs. Now, what I think happened, I did that on a much warmer day, and I think that affected positively the fuel mileage, because on other days when I do it was like 30 degrees outside, I think the truck, just no vehicles perform as well in the wintertime as they do when it's a little bit warmer. So maybe that the BFG number with the 15.3 and the 15 with 65 and 70 might be higher in the spring or summertime. We'll see. The bottom line is that there wasn't a giant fall off losing the air dam like I thought there would be. And then at 70 miles an hour, 15.1 miles per gallon. So that's me being very careful. In a lot of places that is at or under the speed limit. But that's not bad, I don't think. So for most of what I do is highway or in town, when you're doing overlanding or off-roading, normally you're driving a much further distance and you're actually spending time off-road. So, yeah, I think I've got no complaints with this vehicle so far. I think it's a bit of a fallacy to talk about how horrible heavy-duty trucks are for fuel mileage and not suitable for overlanding in the United States. You should get a mid-size or even just a full-size truck. When I talk to people that have 35-inch tires on their Tacomas or on their Gladiators, they're not doing a whole lot better. In fact, a lot of times it's about the same. So that's where we are so far. I'm happy with the truck. I mean, I'd be happier if it got better fuel economy, but that's not really kind of in the cards right now. Oops. That's not in the cards right now. It is what it is. I think the trade-offs on fuel economy are worth it to having a vehicle this size and capability. So thank you for staying with the channel. Thank you for following along the build. I hope that the MPG stuff is helpful to you in making decisions when it comes to what kind of build you want. Is a heavy-duty truck, is a heavy-duty Ram, is a non-diesel heavy-duty Ram worth it? For me, I don't think the price point, I don't tell really all that much of anything. So for me, I'm still very happy with the 6.4 versus the diesel, even though the diesel I think might be cooler. But what we are going to talk about in the next video, the video that will come out next, is how did this thing fare off-road? I took it, or attempted to take it on a trail ride last weekend. I had a little bit of an issue, and I'm going to talk you through that in the next video. Until then, hope you're enjoying the spring thaw. Hope you and your loved ones are well, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Thanks.